Hey. How you guys doing? Welcome back to Individual Perspective Podcast. I'm your host, Daris D, McKinney. And I tell you, I'm doing so much. It is so crazy, y'all. Yeah, we got to come in here and talk about a couple things. I told myself I'm going to just do... It's a certain kind of podcasting that I will be doing randomly sometimes. Some things are methodical and is all kind of planned out and everything. At least the topics of or clips that I want to commentate to are kind of preemptively picked. But today we're going to do a little Wild Wild West type of thing. We're going to just kind of browse, It's things I have on my mind, and I'll just kind of find things that I know that's out there, or some situation that it may kind of help me prove my point and everything like that. I don't know what's going on with my that's interesting. Yeah, so anyway, I'm just kind of trying my best to be a little bit more coherent to doing podcasting and being aggressive on it, but also allowing a real interaction to go on between me and you guys. Okay. So as I'm doing this, I'm kind of doing multitasking and stuff. I'm uploading like little call to actions for the channel and everything. Please like, subscribe, and share, and hit the notification bell if you don't mind. Okay, so let me I was actually supposed to be putting this up. Say join our panel. So I do want you guys to kind of join our panel. So I'm only going to be able to let in a total of 8 people. So if you guys send the email to individualperspectivepodcast@gmail.com, that'll help me kind of get to you guys. I don't know what's going on with my I can't even really see it. Okay, there you go. Join our panel. Okay, so boom, I've got to put it in the chat area. If you guys come on and you see the little chat, just click in there. If you come after the podcast is over, then still respond to it. I'm checking it, and I'll be checking it after we get through with the show also. Okay, so I this is probably gonna. I'm gonna try to push up the resolution a lot to the show, so I'm gonna see how that works out and everything. But I'm trying new things. I'm trying new tricks and stuff with the podcast and the visuals of it and everything like that. We gotta get into some stuff, okay? The reason why I talk about the digital media influencing, because it's a grift on us all. I don't really use that phrase grift, but I understand that, some things the culture and society finds a way to just put an accurate terminology that you can't really beat, So I ask the question of why mainstream media fears the decentralized rise of the independent truth seeker. And I'll say that again. Why mainstream media fears the decentralized rise of the independent truth seeker. That's a fear, but also it's a fear by podcast people that you trust. Because when you kind of go through the nuts and bolts and you look at stuff to scrutinize what they're saying and everything, the rhetoric sounds powerful and influential and everything. Like, for example, okay, let's go do this. Let's not play games. Okay, so I'm gonna pull up something I heard from. I before I say who it's from, I want to make sure I have the clip. Okay. I pull so much stuff. Literally, I can go to, because sometimes I send things to my text. I'm looking at something and I'll send it to my phone or my text and everything. I could do a show specifically about scrolling down my text feed of links, and then we could just do topics or have conversations on some of the things I like, videos and clips that I pulled and stuff. That's endless, because I've been doing this for a few years relentlessly. Okay, let me pull this knucklehead up. See how this is. Give me 1 second. Okay. Okay, here we go. We're gonna use this knucklehead as we're gonna use him as like a test dummy, you know. Yeah. Nope, that ain't gonna work. Okay, let's see if we can fill up the screen. And this is what I'm talking about, like your social media influencers. They got great verbose and they got great oratorial command, and I can go all over the place, but I want to prove a point with this one. So let's do this. Okay, let me share this screen with you. Nick Fuentes, okay? So he's going to be our first test dummy, okay? He's a very smart kid, you know what I mean? But emotions make you radical, you know what I mean? Make you have nothing that you truly stands for. You believe in a certain thing, but you really don't believe in what you really think you believe in, you know what I mean? And like, he will fold to things that he think that will be motivating for him. This guy is getting 358,000 views on Twitter. That's powerful. Okay, his narrative is powerful. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna navigate through what he's saying. I told myself I avoided this for like the last year or so, since he's been off the rails, just kind of bloviating. But let's go in there. Let's just take a, and like I said, today we're going to do a podcast about just kind of browsing and going to grab stuff and talk about stuff on the spot. And I don't really watch Nick Fuentes, but I have heard enough of his rhetoric that I just said I just want to hear what he say, and I'm going to give my opinion on it. Okay? Whew. Excuse me for yarning. I'm always exhausted. I'm sorry. I apologize. I'm working on it. So let's go.
Things get real. This is a very important message, and it has a lot to do with Elijah. We have to put all the differences aside. We really do.
Like, who's Elijah? Is that a Christian thing? I mean, right? Like, you see, like these racists, because he's a racist. We all know this. He knows he's a racist. He's a bigot. Don't even make me go through his archive to show it to you. You know he is, and it's all right. Racist and bigot people watch him. Okay, it's okay. I get it. I'm not just calling him out here. I'm not like a woke person like that. If I don't care if you are, but I just want you to acknowledge, okay, that's what you are. Let's move on, okay? So whatever he said, I just want to let you guys understand, when he gives rhetoric off about joining, remember that majority his ideology is racism, is like white nationalist communication. And I guess I gotta be vetted. So you want me to go find some of that context that he has? I will. But can you give me a second so we can just listen to this clip? I'll walk you through what I think about this clip and stuff. But first off, I gotta go to another tab in order to find out Elijah. Like, it's Elijah. I'm pretty sure it's a religious figure, I guess. You get what I'm saying? Yeah, Elijah and Eli was prophets and miracle workers who lived in the northern kingdom of Israel during the reign of King Ahab, I guess, Ahab. According to the book of King in the Hebrew Bible, in 1 King 18, Elijah defended the worship of the Hebrew deity Yahweh over that of the Canaanite. Let me see how you pronounce that.
Canaanite.
Canaanite, I'm sorry. Yahweh over that of the Canaanite deity Ba. Ba. Let's see if I can pronounce that right.
Ba.
Ba. Okay. God also performed many miracles through Elijah, including resurrection, being fired, bringing fire down from the sky and ascending to heaven alive. Wow. So he was like that's interesting. Oh, so this is all in the Hebrew Bible. Okay. He is also portrayed as leading a school of prophets known as the son of prophets. So that's Elijah. That's what I'm assuming he's talking about when he's talking about Elijah. Okay, so let's go.
We have to put the differences aside, left and right, Republican, Democrat, Christian, Muslim, white, black, men, women. We have to put all that aside and stand against the occupation. Let me put it very simply in terms everybody can understand. Our country is under a hostile occupation.
And the reason why I want to talk about this is because for a while you got Candace Owens, you have Tucker Carlson, and you have Nick Fuentes, and you have Myron Gaines. These are great communicators. These are people that did some really good communication, or at least we're watching them navigate through what's going on. I think a lot of times we're kind of seeing them come into realization of certain things, and we're seeing them process it. You get what I'm saying? So the bad part about that is they will have opinions and point of views. I'm not saying it's false or true. They will have opinions and point of views and wholehearted truths that they hold dear, and they're going through a process of understanding what they're seeing, what's going on here. But I'm gonna just give it out to you. You got Nick Fuentes. You have, and these are the most credible people that they have at least been free in what comes to the top of their head or that they communicated. They're literally like Trump. They kind of like, they're not really hiding how they feel. They really kind of are freedom communicators. They kind of say what they say when they want to say it, and they're not really trying to play to a crowd. Okay. And whatever's going on through their process, their lives, and what they're seeing, what they're experiencing, they come on a platform and they bloviate that stuff, and the audience take it as gospel and it's religious and it's actually something ironclad. But no, these people are working through things that they're experiencing right now. They're going through their mindset, they're evaluating, they're hypothesizing, and it's not really concrete. It's not really concrete, but it's all over the place, and it's maybe some accuracy to it, but it's a lot of noise around it. So you gotta, like, it's like what I've been saying, you gotta eat the meat, spit out the bones. But with these people, you really gotta know what the bones and the meat is, because it's the same almost. Like, you can't really, like, for me, was spitting out the bones and eating the meat. When I look at it, it's literally the bones and the meat. You get what I'm saying? So, but in order for you're looking at a bunch of people kind of say they're eating bones, and you're like, okay, dude, you can eat the meat, and you're not supposed to digest bones. It's gonna be hard for your system to process that. You get what I'm saying? So when you watching people eat bones, and you're like, okay, Jesus, we gotta come online and walk people through. Okay, I'm not saying he's wrong. I'm not saying she's wrong. I'm just saying, let's walk through the logicness of it. And that's what I'll be doing. And obviously I can't be on here forever like I would like to. In order for me to do that, you guys got to hit the hell out of that like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell, hit the Cash App or Venmo or whatever I have on the description area. You have to give support in order for me to be able to kind of do the hours and the man hours of work that I need to do to walk you through all the stuff. So you can have their opinion and you can have an opinion that's vetting them, and then you can come up with your own conclusion of who is telling the truth. Okay. So he's talking about, oh, we got to come together. We got to Christians, Muslim, leaving out Jews because it's the Jew fight. Everybody think that it's like you got Charlie Kirk getting killed. The theory that you hear in all the conspiracy theories people saying is because he was kind of starting to understand how much he needed to be a anti, or let's say an opposition of the Jewish Zionist situation. You get what I'm saying? So that thought process is what everybody's communicating after his death. But a lot of the stuff that people see that have been going on in the world for the last 40 to 100 years, since 1930s, 1940s, is the major stuff in America is because of our not understanding that we're under the thumb of Jewish people. You get what I'm saying? Or Zionists, that everybody that's fighting for the land of Israel and whatever the Zionist feels that's for the best for Israel, we kind of subvert ourselves and give whatever necessary for the survival of Israel to them. I'm coming on just to say, okay, I'm not saying they wrong. I'm not saying they right. What I am saying is this is a mantra that's like Trump had to worry about on his first term, that the Republicans believed that he had a little part of him or somebody inside his camp or something that he's doing. He's got some kind of relationship with Russia. So Republicans was going along with a lot of the things that anti-Trumpers were going on, the politicians, the anti-Republicans, and they kind of gave into, hey, we all can't guarantee that Trump is not a Russian stooge. We can't all like 100% say that he's not. So they had deep inside them, they feel he's such a scumbag, or he's just such a real estate mogul, and he talks a lot of junk. He got a bunch of buildings with his gold letters of his law. He's so arrogant, we can't put it past him that he's a Russian stooge. So they did everything to put him under the microscope in his first term, in the theory that he was a Russian stooge, and it ate up a lot of his political power that he had in his first term. Now, because he's a stubborn, bullheaded, aggressive, and can-do guy, he was able to do a lot of stuff and do a lot of valuable stuff to the average American citizen, black, white, Asians, Hispanics, everybody. Just because who he is, and he just fights and he try to look at the positive nature of things. But it pretty much ate up a lot of stuff he could have done good for American people, and the things that he probably wanted to do. He had to fight. He got impeached 2 times. He was getting prosecuted 2 to 3 years out of the 4 years. He investigated and all that. Not prosecuted, I'm sorry. He was getting investigated by his own DOJ and stuff. He had cabinet sabotage, people in his cabinet sabotaging him, his vice president sabotaging him, his chief of staff sabotaging him. It was aggressive, and he had to fight through that just to do the things that he did get accomplished. Okay. Now, Republicans, because the establishment Republicans, still the mandate is we can't let this guy take over the Republican Party. So they've been fighting, and they always there to jump onto any other thing to kind of slow him down and to make him irrelevant, or like make him not a really valuable president. So they're ready to jump on anything. But this time you got lukewarm Republicans that been always lukewarm. Nick Fuentes, he was a Ted Cruz guy. You get what I'm saying? Breitbart, Ted Cruz guy. You get people, Megyn Kelly, she was probably a Clinton. You get what I'm saying? She was anti-Trump. You get Tucker Carlson, Ted Cruz guy. You get what I'm saying? These are people that really hated Trump. You go back and you know what? I will grab it. I will go and grab a lot of this stuff. They hated Trump. You get what I'm saying? They got browbeat by victory into supporting Trump. There never was people that knew what was going on. You get what I'm saying? And there's a lot of people that are supportive of Trump that they kind of understood they had to come to terms that they were wrong, and they will admit it. So it's a lot to kind of talk about and keep everything in context, but it would take me hours and hours and hours to go grab everything to talk to you guys. But now the theory is Trump has been led by Jewish people, led by Zionists, led by Zionism of Israel. And he's a puppet of the Prime Minister Netanyahu. That's the theory. That's the true belief and the hard-held belief of all the people with major voices in our communication, in our society. Even people that you would say, like, wow, man, you got good opinions on, like, relationships, but they start to go into the politics situation, and this is their narrative. Anti-Israel. And Trump is a stooge of Israel, of Netanyahu. You get what I'm saying? And so everybody kind of know. I think Trump is so wild that he'll burn all of it down before he become beholden to somebody. So you ask yourself, why is he doing the Iran war? Because I just think, I really think it was. Let me pull this up before we'll come back to Nick Fuentes. But this is the reason why I think Trump did the Iran war. Okay, give me a second. Let me pull this on up. Let me pull it up. Okay, I want to be accurate about this. This is why I think that Trump did the Iran war. Okay. So give me a second so I can pull this up for you. Okay, let me make sure I put it on the screen well, fit it into the box and everything. And let's go to it. Okay?
It will establish. I do want to be recorded for history's purposes before I know what is going to happen in regards to this if it goes through. Iran will immediately use the money that it's receiving in sanctions relief to begin to build up its conventional capabilities. It will establish the most dominant military power in the region outside of the United States, and it will raise the price of us operating in the region. They're going to build anti-access capabilities, rockets capable of destroying our aircraft carriers and ships, continue to build these swift boats that are able to come on us, these fast boats that are able to swarm our naval assets. And they'll make it harder and harder for U.S. troops to be in the region. They'll also work with other terrorist groups in the region to target American servicemen and women. And they may or may not deny that they're involved, but they will target us and raise the price of our presence in the Middle East until they hope to completely pull us out of that region. They'll also continue to build long-range missiles, missiles capable of reaching the United States. Those are not affected by this deal, and they'll continue to build them as they've been doing. And then at some point in the near future, when the time is right, they will build a nuclear weapon. And they will do so because at that point they will know that they have become immune, that we will no longer be able to strike their nuclear program because the price of doing so will be too high. Iran is led by a supreme leader who is a radical Shia cleric with an apocalyptic vision of the future. He is not a traditional geopolitical actor who makes decisions on the basis of borders or simply history or because of ambitions. He has an religious apocalyptic vision of the future, one that calls for triggering a conflict between the non-Muslim world and the Muslim world, one that he feels especially obligated to trigger. And he's going to possess nuclear weapons. This is the world that we are on the verge of leaving our children to inherit. And perhaps we ourselves will have to share in it. And so I want to be recorded for history's purposes, if nothing else, to say that those of us who opposed this deal understood where it would lead. And we are making a terrible mistake. But here's the good news. Iran may have a supreme leader, but America does not. In this nation, we have a republic. And soon we will have new leaders, perhaps in this chamber, but also in the executive branch. And I pray that on their first day in office, they will reverse this deal and reimpose the sanctions and back them up with a credible threat of military force, or history will condemn us for not doing what needed to be done at this critical moment in the world's history.
That was given in 2015. 2015. That speech on the floor when Marco Rubio was a senator, that was given in 2015. That is accurate as hell. You see the missiles that we didn't even acknowledge that they pretty much had, because all we seen was them kind of shooting missiles in Israel, and Israel's Iron Dome was shooting them down. So we thought Iran was pathetic in actually having missiles to be able to hit. You get what I'm saying? But at the same time, when America came to wipe out their leadership and really take over and knocking out their government, they knew this is all up. We got to throw everything we got at it. And we've seen capabilities that Iran had with drones and a missile that was able to hit our military base in Iraq. That's where we lost our soldiers from. And they were hitting military bases in Qatar and Bahrain. You get what I'm saying? They was hitting hotels, all that stuff, because we allow. And this is like in 2015, before they passed the Obama deal, that Obama and them deal with Iran. Okay? But that was his prediction. He wanted to put it in the record. That's what I'm doing. I'm putting it in the record. This is why he did that Iran war. It's more actually so they won't get worse than what they already are. And they just by where they were, they was able to kill 6 of our American citizens on base. They're not in a battlefield. They had that kind of reach. They had that kind of functionality to the missiles they were building. And they said they were building 100 of those per month. That's what I want to communicate to you guys. So I'm going to play it again because you really need to get it drilled into your head. This is the reason why Trump, I'll look at the camera there because I don't know why I always look at the monitors and stuff. This is the reason why Trump decided to end the threat of Iran for good. This is the reason why Trump decided to end the threat of Iran for good.
I do want to be recorded for history's purposes before I know what was going to happen in regards to this if it goes through. Iran will immediately use the money that it's receiving in sanctions relief to begin to build up its conventional capabilities. It will establish the most dominant military power in the region outside of the United States, and it will raise the price of us operating in the region.
You know what? I'm not even looking at my monitor that I don't even notice that I'm not even been seen. Are you kidding me? I'm not even been seen. I wonder how much was that. Okay, hold on a second, guys. I apologize. There we go. Wow. That's ridiculous. Sorry about that. I wonder how much was that. I might have to cut that all out, okay, guys? So the Nick Fuentes stuff, you seen that, but you didn't see me, okay? I apologize. Podcast is the Wild Wild West, okay? I forgot to switch it to the more coherent, like, structure of the podcast. Look, it's a lot of technology, a lot of buttons to click, a lot of graphics. I made all this stuff, so I made very different windows and stuff like that. So I apologize. Now I got to say it again. I want to put it on the record. This is the reason why Trump wanted to end, or not wanted. This is the reason why Trump decided to end the Iran threat for good. Okay? Let's start from the top.
For history's purposes. Before I do want to be recorded for history's purposes before I know what was going to happen in regards to this if it goes through. Iran will immediately use the money that it's receiving in sanctions relief to begin to build up its conventional capabilities. It will establish the most dominant military power in the region outside of the United States, and it will raise the price of us operating in the region. They're going to build anti-access capabilities, rockets capable of destroying our aircraft carriers and ships, continue to build these swift boats that are able to come on us, these fast boats that are able to swarm our naval assets. And they'll make it harder and harder for U.S. troops to be in the region. They'll also work with other terrorist groups in the region to target American servicemen and women. And they may or may not deny that they're involved, but they will target us and raise the price of our presence in the Middle East until they hope to completely pull us out of that region. They'll also continue to build long-range missiles, missiles capable of reaching the United States. Those are not affected by this deal, and they'll continue to build them as they've been doing. And then at some point in the near future, when the time is right, they will build a nuclear weapon. And they will do so because at that point they will know that they have become immune, that we will no longer be able to strike their nuclear program because the price of doing so will be too high. Iran is led by a supreme leader who is a radical Shia cleric with an apocalyptic vision of the future. He is not a traditional geopolitical actor who makes decisions on the basis of borders or simply history or because of ambitions. He has an religious apocalyptic vision of the future, one that calls for triggering a conflict between the non-Muslim world and the Muslim world, one that he feels especially obligated to trigger. And he's going to possess nuclear weapons. This is the world that we are on the verge of leaving our children to inherit. And perhaps we ourselves will have to share in it. And so I want to be recorded for history's purposes, if nothing else, to say that those of us who opposed this deal understood where it would lead. And we are making a terrible mistake. But here's the good news. Iran may have a supreme leader, but America does not. In this nation, we have a republic. And soon we will have new leaders, perhaps in this chamber, but also in the executive branch. And I pray that on their first day in office, they will reverse this deal and reimpose the sanctions and back them up with a credible threat of military force, or history will condemn us for not doing what needed to be done at this critical moment in the world's history.
There you go. Okay. So this is in 2015 when he was a senator. Marco Rubio was a senator. He's Secretary of State now, but a senator. And everything that he's warned about, they actually did. You know what I mean? They were so close to doing a nuclear bomb, but they bombed the facility and everything like that. Everybody, if you pay attention to everything that the news is telling you, they really did destroy that nuclear capability. It was messy. They couldn't, no matter what they had brought Russia nuclear scientists into the country, and Russia sent them in to kind of start to build a better infrastructure for them to be able to potentially somewhere down the road build really good nuclear weaponries and all other stuff. But we start bombing all the locations, and Russia pulled them guys out of that, out of Iran ASAP because, you know, they tearing up everything. America was and Israel was bombing everything, so they really don't got it no more now. You know what I mean? But even if they didn't have that, the fear that they were doing really, and I'm telling you, what you got to go do your homework. Iran is really good at building drones. Ukraine is too, but Iran is the best. They're the best at building drones because one of our drones landed or crashed in Iran on Obama, and they took that drone and they rebuilt it, and they built that and better versions of it. So fast forward to now, they have really great drones that we didn't know they really had, but we found out that they had, and that's what actually they do. They call it a one-way drone because it goes to the location and it just crashes into the location. That's what a drone killed our American soldiers in Kuwait a few days ago. That's what killed that's how they got killed, by a drone just ramming into them with a bomb explosions and rockets linked to it and all the other stuff. So This was the weaponry that they do it. This is what they were They were attacking missiles and drones, attacking all the hotels in Qatar and all that stuff like that, and Dubai and Saudi Arabia. This is their capability that we kind of just let them. We were only kind of attacking them on the actual nuclear thing, but they were building up another way to defend themselves. And when they get so much missiles, it will be we have to negotiate with them to get them to do anything. So. And while they're not at that power point, it was a good time to attack them and rid them to ever be a threat ever again. Destroy any possible way they could be a threat. That's why we're sinking all their ships, their Navy ships. We're destroying everything, all their military bases, all their fire areas that they can fire launches from. Destroy everything, every single military base, every single. We even taking out police departments. Because that's a layer of their government, and that they implement to crack down on the people, and also use them as a insurgent militia inside the grounds in the different cities. You can't trust none of that. So we attack all that. We really kind of took their actual ability to threat away from them. That's what we're doing right now. I'm not saying it's good. I don't like none of it. I really don't like that we losing citizens to a piece of shit place like Israel or Iran. I only care about America. That's just the real. That's been blunt. You get what I'm saying? So, understanding that the threat of Iran's military and their ability to kill and launch attacks, that needed to be destroyed. The conduit of money to militia groups and Hezbollah and Hamas, that needed to be destroyed. And that's what they're doing. So I'm just giving you guys the data. That speech from Marco Rubio was actually what killed the same things he's talking about is what killed our 6 soldiers. So it was always a threat. You get what I'm saying? It was a threat. It was not good. You get what I'm saying? And I don't know if we were so stupid that we put our people in harm's way, not anticipating that could have possibly happened. Okay. I just wanted to play that before we go into this Nick Fuentes. I wanted to give context to all the stuff he bloviating about. You get what I'm saying? So let's go.
That's what it is. Our government is occupied. Our government, our elites, all the institutions that control the country. The United States of America is an occupied nation. We are occupied by a hostile alien force, and they have so much control that they are able to send our sons and daughters, the bravest and best among us, to kill and die for their agenda. It has nothing to...
Yeah, I don't like that, and I don't like even the point of view of that's what's being allowed to even be perceived. But at the same time, I do believe that we are such a pussy nation. We're such a pussy nation. Like we look at, like we done neutered ourselves so much that men and what men do have been tampered down so much that death is scary to us. You know what I mean? And I say us because we all kind of have a weakness and a disrespect to what it takes for freedom and what it takes to be protectors. You get what I'm saying? And in the process of weakening ourselves as protectors, it automatically weakens you to be a great provider. You get what I'm saying? This is the problem that we got in our society. And people don't understand when you weaken your protector or the ability to relentlessly protect, you weaken to provide. Because everything starts to be fair game. It's okay for us to allow our companies to do business overseas in order to lower their costs to build the products that we like. Well, you weaken your ability to be of value as a manufacturing company or a manufacturing place. If everybody can make your product that's inside your country that your country consumes. Like we consume the most Ford cars. We consume the most GM cars. We consume the most American products, not other countries. So when you take manufacturing out of your country to sell back into your country, how are you paying for that product now? Because you're not working. You don't have the jobs that was built to pay for those jobs anymore. And that's what happened. We outsource our tech. We outsource our customer service. It's all like everything that Americans do to be able to have revenue and get money and get employment to get money have funds to purchase things. All the things that we do to actually have a job to give us revenue, we're outsourcing that. So you got 30% of the actual ability of an American that is still somewhat like stationary in the country. What is that? It's construction. It's plumbing. You know what I mean? It's like vocational stuff that you physically gotta be there to do it. But we let so many illegal immigrants in, we even delegating that to the legal immigrants. We're outsourcing even that labor to the legal immigrants. And what does the legal immigrants do with the money? They don't spend it in America. They send it back home. The immigrants, even legal immigrants, they send that stuff back home. So the revenue that we have is only what the government can take out of it from tax. So who's getting the money? The government. So whatever money don't get sent out of the country, it's actually gone to the government and the treasury for taxes. And this is all before Trump came in. This was happening for decades, multiple decades. We talking about 30, 40 years. So now all the money that's been actually revenue gained inside the country was treasury. That's why you got a broken economics to society. Because once you start to give room for understanding of financial responsibility in the country, when you start delegating that out to like everybody you have a bleeding heart for, then you start to compromise men being able to be providers and be financially stable. So now you got 55% of men not being able to really economically play in the world, live in the world, coexist in the world, grow in the world, prospers in the world. You have 65% of women been able to kind of take jobs because most jobs are kind of administrative jobs now. Filing, clerking, stuff like that. Nursing, all that stuff, you know what I mean? And then whatever the white construction companies don't have, and the oil rig workers and stuff like that, all that other jobs are been taken up by illegal immigrants or immigrants from India and all the other stuff. And look, I don't have no problem with this. You can't change this, y'all. You can't change this. You even see that even Trump, he can't mess around. He's too weak to actually really deport everybody. Need to be deported. When he thinks about it, it's just too hardcore. It's just too barbaric for him. You get what I'm saying? So when you I understand how he feels, but I'm telling you guys, in order to heal the world, because not the world, in order to resolve the things that's popping off in America, you're gonna have to do triage. This is an emergency surgery almost in the field is surgery, really aggressive surgery in order to save America. But if you're not willing to do that, that body's dying in a matter of time and very quick. And that's what we're watching. I tell people you can't change the damage that we're doing. We're fighting each other. about racism and all this other crazy stuff, and Zionism and anti-whites and anti-liberal and conservatives, and socialists, and you know what I mean? We doing all this crazy CIA espionage, propaganda, dysfunction, and destabilizing our country, because that's what Obama and Biden did. They sicked the CIA on us. So it's tactics that the CIA do to disrupt the actual countries that we do espionage stuff to overseas. They use those same tactics on us, and we ready to chop each other's head off. So in that situation, that's what we're dealing with, and I'm telling you guys, you can't correct it. So my advice to people is just get the money you could get out of life, get to have some success out of your life, and go on cruises, go on trips, have good sex, and enjoy your life, because that's the best you're going to get out of it. That's the best you're going to get out of it. I think for the next 20 to 40 years, it's not good looking pretty. If people are not going to grab onto the stuff that Trump is doing, and he's the only person that's absolutely going to fight or come even close to a little fight for America. Okay? Because people complaining about the grand opus of what they want Trump to do and what the outcomes they want Trump to have and all that stuff like that. But they're not paying attention that you couldn't even get what's been done in the last 10 years without him. Ain't no way in hell. Nick Fuentes would not be on Twitter if it wasn't for Trump. He couldn't even be here to talk and give his comments on this platform. This was a platform that he was banned from. Elon Musk hated them kicking Trump off of Twitter. He decided to buy it on that purpose alone, that it was a true example that they took freedom of speech away from a president. And Trump getting thrown off Twitter was worth $45 billion to Elon Musk. That's what it was. Not for Nick Fuentes. Nobody cares about Nick Fuentes. He can't get an ant to do anything. All he's doing right now is disrupting, and it's almost like a kamikaze. It's almost like a terrorist coming with a suicide vest on. That's what Nick Fuentes is doing. To the conservative, the GOP, or whatever the hell, even his white nationalists. That's what he's doing.
Do with protecting America. It has nothing to do with...
And he don't care about no blacks. He don't care about no Muslims. He's a liar. And don't take my word for it. Go watch his shit.
With defending the homeland, our interests, anything like that. Our sons and daughters, the bravest and best among them that volunteer.
Yes, Nick Fuentes is a virgin. He don't have a son or he don't have a daughter. So this is all rhetoric of a spectator. And we are. If we don't have daughters or sons, he's just got bloviating personality and articulation of stuff as a spectator. So he can't speak for what it takes to protect this country. And yes, I do believe that we all have become so living in the time of peace that we forget the cost of freedom, and that you just can't quite not know what Iran is doing. You can't quite not know what China's doing. You can't quite not know what Israel's doing. You can't quite not know what Saudi Arabia is doing. You can't quite know what the UK is doing. You can't quite not know what Mexico and Venezuela. You gotta somewhat have spies and people into the infrastructure and monitoring it with satellites and all that stuff. Just so if stuff is popping off, you can get ahead of it a little bit. So it makes it sometimes some of those things that we get ahead of and we get knowledge on, we got to actually physically do something about That's what we're dealing with places like Iran, places like Venezuela. It's certain things that if you look at the bigger picture of what actual day-to-day function and how much it's so close to affecting us, you'll see it, okay? I truly believe you pull people out of South Korea, you pull people out of all over the country, bring them home, and find a way to monitor it. But the best way to monitor what's popping off all over the world is what we have. And we have military bases all over the place. All over the place. We have spies and spooks and ambassadors and all kind of stuff all over the world to kind of know what's popping off. So this is just a decision of information that we're not able to see. Satellite communication that we're not able to see. Different tactical situations and conversations and recordings that we're not able to hear that made Trump say, yeah, let's go do this. Let's knock this out. I truly believe that. Now, I could be wrong, but I think he's got to not allow people like Nick Fuentes and Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson and Megyn Kelly. Trump cannot let them win the argument. He can't let them win the narrative. If it takes him to declassify information, he's got to do it. To shut them up, to take credibility from them. Because right now, even if he said, oh, we'll let Bongino and other podcasters, Sean Hannity and other people kind of be opposition to what they're saying. Sean Hannity's irrelevant. He's irrelevant. He's been irrelevant for decades. He's been getting paid hand over fist for decades and have no actual political persuasion, no influence. He got nothing. Rush Limbaugh had nothing. The worst stuff happened when they was at their height and they most powerful. Worst stuff. They had no power. Politicians used them like whores, but never paid attention to them. Never really did with like any of the things that they perceived that they should have done and policies and stuff. Is irrelevant. The opposition to Democrats and people like Nick Fuentes and Sean Hannity, Nick Fuentes, Candace Owens, Megyn Kelly, what's the guy? Always bloviate. I can't even remember his name right now. These people got big mouths. Tucker Carlson and I forgot the other guy, Alex Jones. These people got a loud megaphone, and they're irrelevant. But their voice is good enough to make the people second guess what they know in their heart. What they know is most likely what's popping off. But you got these people, they articulate themselves so well, they got good fluid communication, and they look at the camera and they it's so aggressive and meaningful, but these are liars. And they can lie straight at the camera. They can lie. They can be so honest. You can see the motion. You can see the veins popping out their neck. But they're liars, and they all under the perception of a theory that they truly believe, not a theory that they have facts on. Only way they can rule out the reason why Trump said he's doing this is if they've seen all the classified data. Until they do that, they can't rule that that's not a persuasion of why he attacked Iran. That's facts. It's part of the equation. You got to look as close as possible to the data. Okay, why they say that they did it? Okay, let's go look at as much data that's out there to corroborate that. Then you look at both sides to see, okay, is it data? Is it actual evidence? Is it actual physical recordings? Is it actual information that could be corroborating of what Iran was doing? I just played you a person. 2015, Marco Rubio was actually one of the people that knows everything the president knows because he get the top briefings. There's only 8 people in Congress and Senate, 4 and 4, that gets actually knowledge on what a president do, even the secrets and the dirty stuff that our country does. They get briefed on it. He's one of those people. So when he gave that speech, he seen the intel. He seen the arsenal. He sees the recording. He had spies and he read reports of what the spies were saying inside Iran. What information they was given, he seen all that. So he was so confident that we can't do no deal with them, that he went on the floor of Congress, put it in a way that he can't communicate it, and put it on the record. That's the facts. Now, just in case that wasn't good enough, when we attacked Iran and Israel, first Israel did it, we had to make sure that whatever Iran did in response to Israel attacking it, that we would be able to kind of do enough damage that it wouldn't hit us real hard. We knew we were going to take casualties, but you know what I mean? It would have been worse if we didn't do anything but let Israel attack the Iran and the actual government and all that stuff. But look, I already gave you guys this information inside of the previous episodes that I did on Iran. You can go watch that. Okay? So let's listen what he got to say.
And take up arms are being sent to kill and die, to take life and give up their own lives for the agenda of this hostile occupying force. Call it what you want. Israel, world Jewry, organized Jewry, a Jewish fifth column. That is what is happening. And I don't care what color you are. I don't care what party you vote for.
Yes, he does. He's a racist. He's a bigot. You get what I'm saying? That's what he is. So he does. He's just trying to formulate this. He's trying to, or that's why he calling these nicknames and stuff like that. I'm not gonna repeat it because I don't know if I'm even get flagged on this stuff because of the stupid stuff he's saying. You know what I mean? But he's articulating something that's very bigoted and all the other stuff. But I'm not saying he's wrong and I'm not saying he's right. I'm just saying he's a bigot. You get what I'm saying? And that's the facts of the matter. And so whatever he's saying, I don't want people to think that he actually not a racist. He is a racist. He's a major bigot. He's known for being a bigot. You get what I'm saying? And he knows that, and he's the absolute definition of it. And he's the absolute definition of a racist. He knows that. He may articulate and say, I want the preservation of white people, but the way he articulates it, he loses control sometimes. He forgets, like, even if you're a person that's advocating for the preservation of white people, for them not to be devalued and defranchised and stuff, don't alienate other people in your articulation of it. He does. Sometimes he go on rants that's just racist and bigoted. And because he had a moment, don't mean you could take that away. You do it one time you be a bigot like that, you got a problem. I don't have no problem with anybody. I don't have no problem with, like, I'm my friends, my loved ones, my relationships are all biracial, everything. It's just my closest dear people, the people I trust, the people that fight for me are not black. You get what I'm saying? So I'm not like that. I'm just saying I have to be truthful and honest to say how much of a bigot Nick Fuentes is. And he knows it. He's a racist and he's a bigot. And maybe I got to go pull some stuff just so you guys can really hear it from his own mouth. Okay? I don't know if it's going to be played or here. There's so much I can play on YouTube.
I don't care if you hate every other one of my views. I am a Christian. I believe in Jesus Christ. I believe we are all created by God. And I believe that the ethos of our civilization is selfless love. I think it's time.
Well, then you really contradict that. You really contradict that. That's why I say, I don't care if you don't believe in all of my other beliefs. Just in case you look me up, just in case you kind of go and look at my previous recordings before last year or before, just in case you look at that stuff, whatever my beliefs is, this is how I truly feel today, to manipulate you, to make you be on my side, to make you be that I'm an anti-Trumper, so you need to start listening more to my rhetoric. And that's why he's getting high views, because he got a lot of Democrats watching him now. A lot of anti-Trumpers watching him now.
For all of us to unite every one of us to unite against this hostile force. If you are with me, against this unnecessary bloodshed, against this expansionist, wicked, ethnocentric agenda in Israel, murdering and killing and looting and hijacking and parasiting. If you're an American citizen, if you long to be free, independent, and sovereign as an American, then I am with you. And we all have to stand together, and I mean it. I mean it.
Yeah, I understand all the data that they have, and I got to take you guys all through that stuff for the reason they opposition to Israel. But that's a fight y'all lost. You don't control the banks. You don't control the media. You're going to say you don't control anything that matters on earth. For some reason, the things that matter on earth is owned and dominated by those people and white people. Okay? That for some reason that's the way it is, okay? And white people may be controlled by those people. Okay? So, and that's the theory that they have. That's what they do, all they podcasting and all they bitching, moaning, and yelling and all kind of crazy stuff. They just saying those people are the ones who control the white people. You get what I'm saying? Before Trump and after Trump. And they decided to do what? What are you going to do? What Nick Fuentes going to do? What's his remedy? What actually is the solving of it? To destroy the only movement that we have, and that the actual productive and actually functioning movement that we have to do any, even if it's just an inch of saving America. Economically, manufacturing wise, just on just not being woke. The only thing is Trump. Everything else, it falls into a bottomless pit of just not the country you want. Not the country you want. It's ridiculous. He's an idiot. I don't know what it did to my screen, but I'm going to look and see. Please go back to where I left off at. I don't know what that happened.
What is happening? And I don't care what color you are. I don't care what party you vote for. I don't care if you hate every other one of my views. I am a Christian. I believe in Jesus Christ. I believe we are all created by God. And I believe that the ethos of our civilization is selfless love.
Bullshit.
I think it's time for all of us to unite. Every one of us to unite against this hostile force. If you are with me, against this unnecessary bloodshed, against this expansionist, wicked.
Yeah, we kind of heard a lot of this stuff. A lot of stuff I don't want to repeat it, because let it play one time and that's it, because it's so bigoted. I don't want to get flagged, but YouTube, I don't believe in these ideas of Nick Fuentes about Jewish people or anything. I am a supporter of all people, and if I be anti-support of somebody, it's because I got facts. And all the stuff that he's saying in this is all emotional. It's all propaganda. It's all about different scenarios and different situations. The JFK, the 9/11, and all that stuff. And it's so sporadic, but it all comes cumbersome to one idea that they think that this is the reason why Trump is moving on this. This is the reason why Trump is moving on that. So I'm saying, I'm not a supporter of this. What I am is a reporter and a journalist and a person that's actually giving the people the facts and information that they need to know. So you got to allow me to do this. You got to allow for me to give free communication in America. And I got to let this guy say his point of view on my channel, on my YouTube, because I'm proving a point and I'm communicating a certain dysfunction and disruption that's going on inside of our communication with each other. So I have to play this. You got to let me do that, okay? don't demonetize me.
With you. And we all have to stand together. And I mean it. I mean it. Not a rhetorical trick. It's not a bit. I'm not rage baiting or anything like that. We all have to unite now as Goyim, as Gentiles, as Americans.
As Goyim. As Goyim. Let's look that up.
Christians.
Nope. Hold on a second. We gonna just move on that. Just hold on a second. Let me look at Goyim. They start saying stuff in this biblical speech, but you want to know what the hell it is. Goyim. What's Goyim? Goyim. Let's see what that is. Goyim, a person who is not a Jew. See? In Jewish use, it's crazy. So I guess it's a term that Jewish people uses, but it's like probably a profane word that I might get flagged on. See? Tell you how big this guy is. Pay attention to what he's saying in the kind of passive aggressive language he's using. And it shows you the bigotry and the racism of it. He may be right. He may be wrong. But he ain't gonna give you no facts. He ain't gonna give you no data. He ain't gonna say this. He's not gonna take away 2015 comments of Marco Rubio and say that this is not the reason that Trump is his thing is, I have a theory that Bibi Netanyahu made him do that and threaten him, and he's beholden to him because he's threatening. Candace Owens say stupid shit like that too. Give me the proof. I'm not saying you guys are wrong. I'm not saying you're right. I want proof. I want recordings. I want a audio tape of Bibi Netanyahu phone call to Trump to threaten him. You better do this. You better do this. And I'm not saying he ain't. I'm not saying that. I think it's ridiculous that Trump did it. You get what I'm saying? Because the American soldiers that we lost. Because the really sloppy situation of making sure a lot of our citizens is out of the harm's way, and that they doing VIP jets and they got all kind of people to try to scramble people to get Americans out of that region. And that's pretty sloppy. You get what I'm saying? And I'm sure he's sweating about it too.
Either as true believers or aspirationally, people that recognize the core of the Christian message, which is that we are all created beings. We all have natural.
He just used a anti-slur and a anti-Jewish rhetoric. He just used that. So don't talk about you look at all people as equal. You do see them as some kind of like radical people.
Rights. We all have dignity against this regime, which obviously rejects that, which would kill all of us to expand their empire, which would kill and assassinate.
Well, don't y'all say, like, Christians says that it's God's chosen people? Don't Christians say stupid shit like that? You know? Look it up. Told you guys we're gonna do a straight from the cuff podcast. It's just like we just rolling with it, okay? I want to see where it says that. Because I hear that shit all the time. God chosen people. Where's it come from? Okay. Okay. The term God chosen people typically refer to the belief that a certain group, particularly the Jewish people, are selected by God for special purpose or a covenant, as outlined in religious texts like the Book of Deuteronomy. So it's in Deuteronomy. Make sure I'm pronouncing that right. Deuteronomy.
Deuteronomy.
Yep, Deuteronomy. Like texts like the Book of Deuteronomy This concept is also recognized in Christianity and Islam. So Christianity, Islam, and Jewish text says that Jewish people are God-chosen people. Where different interpretations exist regarding who is considered chosen and for what purpose. Okay, so I'm going into the details. Look, I just want to make sure that we we have this terminology right. Okay, interpretations across religion, Judaism. Jews view their chosenness as a call to live righteousness and serve as the example to others. Christianity. Some Christians believe that the new covenant through Jesus Christ extends the idea of being chosen to all believers, while others maintain that Jews may retain their chosen status, meaning that it's like secular or different domination of Christianity churches are kind of trying to have their own way of interpreting the chosen people, but actually in the Christian text and Deuteronomy in the Bible, it says that Jewish people are the chosen people. And Islam, okay, Muslims are traced. Muslims also trace their lineage to Abraham and recognize the significance of the Jewish people in God's plan. Okay, that's what they're saying about the phrasing of God chosen people. Okay, I just want to look, and he's called himself a devout Christian, but he going against, even if you don't like what's going on with the Jewish people, it's God's will.
And destroy anybody that stands in their way with no scruples and no remorse. That's the message. And I feel that now more than ever. And honest to God, we really need to see the light here.
You're not smart enough. Everything you're talking about, there's people before you've been talking about this stuff. There's people that's more smarter than you, richer than you, more powerful than you, had place of influence and control, and they all been talking this crazy stuff. And not saying it's wrong, I'm just saying it's typical. It's typical. And the great thing about the internet and podcasting and social influencing and stuff like that, you actually can move the ball. You can actually move the ball on this now. But when you articulate it in the way that you're articulating it, in the way that you're communicating it, you got the good verbose, you got great communication, you got great oratorial way of flow of communication, but you're terrible in contradicting of your anger, your hatred, your bigotness, that you mess up the message. You mess up what can be influencing and what can actually drive what you want to happen, the outcome that you want to happen, but you can't when you shit it on your name, you shit it on your message, you shit it on your voice. So you're irrelevant. And what needs to happen is irrelevant. So your option is destroy America or let them have this one. That's your choice. And you said, I'm giving you a message today. I want to give you a message today to say we're gonna vote for Democrats and we're gonna destroy America. And I think it's for the greater good. You whack ass people, y'all did a lot of damage over the last 15 years to what you perceive. No matter what we see, it's for the greater good. It's for the greater good we let this happen. It's for the greater good we let that happen. It's for the greater good that we put Trump in jail for 107 years. It's for the greater good that we take economic power from black people, from real Native Americans in this country. It's for the greater good because we gotta allow the legal immigration to pop off. We gotta allow a lot of stuff. We gotta be anti-Jewish. That's crazy. Okay. And I don't think I'm gonna take that bait.
Is ideological differences, things that have happened in the past, have to let it go. Have to let it go. We're all flawed. We're not always all going to get along.
It's so crazy. It's so crazy. This anti-Jewish stuff is telling him how he has to look at how he perceives what he thinks Trump is doing. Like, this is the problem with Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson and Nick Fuentes. They put themselves in a situation where Trump is a person that he want to bring them over. He want to bring them in. He want to have a call with them. He want to do an interview with them, and they could do it. But they put themselves in such a wild situation where they have a text that has no substance, no validation to it, and it makes it. I can't even. You call me a pedophile. I can't. Well, how am I talk to you? How am I have a conversation with you? How am I be in the same room with you when you went on your platform and you told millions of people and you putting a narrative out there where liberals are like, look, see, his supporters call him a pedophile. It's wild stuff. No facts, no evidence, all in the window, and everybody think that 100 women can't lie the same lie. It's like, yeah, they can. You gotta prove it. For every allegation, you have to do both sides of investigation. Investigate the accused to what they did, and you investigate the accuser to make sure that they're not making a wild accusation about a person that is not true. If it's true, it's corroborated then. That's how life is. To anything. You don't just let people just get away with just getting a testimony. Because lawyers told me if I call FBI and I put it on an FBI form, it's more legitimate. Hell no. Wild stuff, man. Hold a second. I gotta walk away for a second. Okay, sorry about that. Okay. So, back. Okay. Let's go back to what he's saying, to what he's talking about.
When we all have disagreements, but here's one thing we can agree on. This is our fucking country. Okay? We're born here. It's our birthright. We're citizens of the United States of America. We pay taxes. It's our home. These are our neighborhoods, our playgrounds, schools, places of business. Our parents live here. Our children will play here. This is ours. If you think it belongs to us, you should be with us. We should be united to liberate and free America from
what? From what? An ideology, a perception? Who are you gonna fight? Who are you gonna fight? Who are you gonna fight? Who specific? Because you're talking about Israel. Like, what do you want us like to destroy Israel? Like, do the same thing we're doing to Iran to Israel? We just switch sides. So you're kind of giving a prescription that you feel that should happen to Israel. In like, if they're both terrible, you know what I'm saying? We got to go to what's the greater good? What's the best option for us? What's the most civilized situation that's popping off? And if that's Israel, because they got great managing of law, money, and actual wealth and building and having control of the world, then like I just look, I'm not saying it's like this, y'all. I'm just saying I'm trying to see what he's saying. I'm trying to understand what his prescription is. All this is about what makes sense to solve the problem that Candace Owens and Nick Fuentes and Tucker Carlson and Megyn Kelly has. What's the actual prescription? What's the prescription? Not to do what you're doing. No. We're doing that. We're doing that because our data, our research, our intelligence, and the specific situation calls for it to happen. And the choice that Trump has is to do it. You get what I'm saying? And I always say I don't like when American soldiers die. I just don't like that because it's got to be for a good reason. It's got to be for a great reason. These people are on a base doing nothing. Now, they weren't fighting. They weren't in a battlefield. You get what I'm saying? He was on a base and they died. He's like 42 years old, 39. Was it 42, 39, 35, and 20? You get what I'm saying? So that tells you automatically these people were innocent Americans that died. They wasn't in there. They wasn't putting themselves in harm's way. We just didn't calculate the response of Iran. So, but this happened in Obama. This happened in Bush. This happened in Clinton years. And so, lack of anticipating what the enemy is going to do. They all guilty of that. Are we sending all of them to jail? Are we condemning all of them? Are we throwing away all possibility of having a strong country because they didn't anticipate how the enemy was going to respond? What's your prescription? That's what I'm asking. Because there's a lot of rhetoric, a lot of bloviating with no solutions.
This evil occupation. That's it. I don't care about anything else. People say, I see all this bargaining on the timeline from the pro-Trump crowd. They still believe in Republicans and Democrats, and they're talking about every other thing. And don't get me wrong. I'm still a far-right nationalist, okay? And when...
No, you're not. No, you're not. You're about to vote for the Democrats. He's about to say in his speech, this bloviating speech that he's got, that he's voting Democrat. So how are you going to say that? If you know that they so polar opposite than what you absolutely, just a little bit of what you want to happen. That's what I'm saying. Emotion and instability of plans and actually doing stuff. You got all these pundits and these podcasters and these news anchors. They got so much control of the communication and the narrative but what they say and what they do and what they prescribe is the most ridiculous shit under the sun.
We free our country, I want to deport a lot of illegal aliens, okay? No doubt about it. But as long as there is an occupying force that can send any one of us to kill and die for them, that's the bigger priority.
And how are you what's your prescription to stop the mythical Jewish people from Israel and the politicians and the people from Israel to tell our government and a strong bullheaded person like Trump, because I think he's more tough, more resilient, more like functioning, more independent than Nick Fuentes is. Don't take my word for it. Go look at his video. Go look at his video from 2015 to now. That's how you vet this guy. You got to look at everything in context. Everything in context. If he's complaining about anything, any mindset from 2015 to now, you got to vet his personality from 2015 to now. And he's all over the place. All over the place. He's not stable. He's a wishy-washy, flip-flopper, emotional, bigoted, racist guy. Trust me, I love the Tucker Carlson. I used to listen to Tucker Carlson. I even watched Nick Fuentes. I kind of like say, okay, cool. He got good political talking points and all the other stuff, but he's so wishy-washy. All of them are. Even Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson was crazy, radical, like a pompous elitist. You get what I'm saying? And they all flip-flopping. Candace Owens, she don't know what, like, she's so wishy-washy and so up and down. She spent her legacy, her value. She has, I can't give her credibility, because how do you get credibility when you work for Ben Shapiro? Ben Shapiro is a shitbag, and he's been a shitbag for decades. He never had a good situation where, I don't care how, Candace Owens was successful already. There was no reason for her to ever go work for Ben Shapiro. that she went to go work for Ben Shapiro, you're compromised. It's a specific reason you took that deal. It's a specific reason why you messed around with that guy. That guy's a scumbag. Terrible person. Why would you go work for him? So that's discredit her. She could never get that credit back. Never. So that's what I'm saying. You guys are just like, wow, like self-deletion bombers. That's what you guys are, for real.
Some people say America first means we don't have to care about what happens over there. I might agree with that, except that we are over there. 6 Americans are dead because they were over there. What were they doing over there? They were fighting another country's war for them. Why? Why is American blood, even one life, why is American blood being spilled over there? And we know that.
Because we are in military bases in Middle East country where actual Iran was smart enough to target it. But we like that in Asia. We like that in Europe. Germany, UK, Japan, South Korea, we all over the place with bases. People living, playing video games, talking to their friends, surfing the internet, watching movies, cooking, having basketball play, doing all kinds of stuff. We got military bases and we got American zones and residential areas that we just got people living like they in America, but they ain't. They're on enemy territory. They're on enemy surroundings. And at any given time, who we trust can backstab us, can turn the other way while we get attacked. It's at any given time on any of those continents. You get what I'm saying? That's the problem. So he's talking about like they was on the battlefield. They was in Iran trying to fight. They was flying the planes and they got killed. No, these are people that was on military bases, some of the most safe zones that's over in the Middle East. Like these people spend a fortune to have a city life, to have technology and all kind of stuff. Qatar, Dubai, Saudi Arabia, and they getting their ass handed to on a base. You get what I'm saying? That's where the 6 people died from. We know 4 for sure in Kuwait. They like in Kuwait, which Kuwait has always been a hotbed. Anything pop off, they supposed to have a safe zone. Everybody. It always been like a hot zone. And no way we supposed to be losing soldiers on base in Kuwait, because we know it's a high probability we're gonna get attacked by missiles or something if we get into something with Iran. How did we get such a soft point with that? So I understand with that, but I also fought us for being all over the place. So the fight, like we got more control of the military than we ever had. Obama ain't had that kind of control over the military that Trump has with Pete Hegseth. But for some reason, the problem is everybody's trying to preserve the departments. We don't want to totally destroy the Pentagon. We don't want to totally destroy the FBI. We don't want to totally destroy the NSA. We don't want to totally destroy the CIA. And preserving it, you're preserving some very not trustworthy people within the organization. So it's maybe reasons why we all are pussy that we won't burn down everything and rebuild it. And he's talking about burning the whole country down by picking Democrats. We know that. We did. We picked the Democrats and they went, wow. From 2001 to 2004, everything that they ever wanted to do, they did it relentlessly. You want more of that or worse? It's going to be worse now because they on a revenge tour.
Who sent them there to die? This occupying regime. That is the bigger priority in my...
I want you guys to understand, because I got to break this down, because if he could say something that would be very accurate, or like, let's say something that has substance to what he's communicating, that would make me say, wow, man, that's so intellectually and philosophically it's accurate and it's so strong that I can't even rebut it. I can't even articulate against it. Articulate against it. But he's not. He has no substance. It's almost like boogeyman syndrome. It's all in the air. They sent these people. These people sent us. We should be tired of this. We should hate this. We should be fed up with this. So what is your prescription?
Mind at this point, as long as that force exists, that is the biggest threat to all of us.
What force is that? What is the physical, real substance, material thing? Who can we put our bullseye to? What is that? Because it's very broad spectrum. Is it the Jews in New York? Is it the Jews in Israel? Is it the Jews in Washington? Who is this bullseye in the occupying army, occupying negative anti-American force that we need to kind of go at and we need to put our targets toward? Who are you talking about? It's all boogeyman stuff. It's fear conversation with no substance.
So I'm pushing a unity message. And that's why I say in 26, I'm switching sides. And you know what? Look, if you live in a Republican district, or you live in a district where a Republican is running that is openly against Israel and openly against this war, then, go and vote for them.
See that? That's like that's so wow. That's wow. You're going to be openly against Israel? You're going to be openly against... like, really? Really?
But I will be voting for Democrats. I encourage other people to vote for Democrats because, as we are often reminded, it's a two-party system. The seat's either going to go red or it's going to go blue. And that means party line voting. And what I want in 2026 is for this administration to be held accountable. People say, you only want chaos and destruction.
You want this administration to be held accountable that I'll come out and just say this. Wow. That's a hardcore thing to say. Vote for Democrats because you want this. No, you want Trump to go to jail for 170 years. And you don't care about what they did in Libya, what the Democrats did in Libya. You don't care what they did in Iraq. You don't care what they did in Afghanistan. You don't care what the damage that Democrats and Republicans alike, especially Democrats, what they did with 9/11. You don't care what just the ignorant stuff that happened, that Trump fought his life and almost gave his life to do. That wasn't fake. He almost really lost his life. He almost really went to jail. He almost lost every dime, every company that he has. They would have took it away from him like they was in Russia. So you want him to be accountable. So when he's saying this stuff, y'all think it's about the anti-Jewish stuff, the anti-Israel stuff. No, he got anti-Trump on his mind. I'm telling you, the political system inside of the Republican Party, the elitists, the old Republican establishment, with these wild, radical, dumb, emotional, stupid, racist people that got a little bigotry to them, a little racism to them, but they call themselves being anti something else. And the conspiracy theories to the Epstein files and to Israel as a puppet master, and they did 9/11 and they did this and they did that. These people are so whacked out their mind. They don't have a home. They literally like self-deletion bombers. They really are. That's what Candace Owens is. That's what Nick Fuentes is. You get what I'm saying? They self-deleted bombers. That's what they are. You get what I'm saying? So his prescription is the only thing that he feels that could be make him feel good, make him come in his midnight sleeps because he don't have sex and he don't have a girlfriend and never have and don't got a wife. You know what I mean? He's just some crazy, bloviating, big mouth guy on the internet. Is that if they impeach Trump, if they put him in jail, if they destroyed Trump, see, y'all should have listened to us. Y'all should have listened to us. You should have been anti-Israel. You should have been anti-Jewish people. And Trump, he's like, I got time to be I got to make sure that Iran don't get no power, don't get no influence, don't get no way of making moves on the chessboard that might make us have to re-strategize how we're moving on the chessboard. That's what Trump's doing. Iran absolutely, just by their ballistic missiles alone, was getting more power that they could control moves on the chessboard. The way you beat opponent on the chess is you stop them from being able to have control of their movements on the chessboard. That's how you beat them. That's how you checkmate them. This is suicide. This is self-deletion. Okay? This is crazy. Crazy.
You're a plant. I'm not a Democrat. I'm not left-wing. I don't support their agenda.
And I want you guys to know, because people say this with so much vigor, I'm not a plant. I'm not a Democrat. You got to go look at their own words, their own movements, how they articulated themselves in different scenarios over their time, and you will see a plant, and you will see a contradicting liberal. You get what I'm saying? That's why a lot of Ku Klux Klan members, no matter how vigorous they was and how aggressive they were to hurt and maim and do stuff to Black Americans, they was able to do that because they got such vigor and forceful and aggressive physicality that their belief system was so strong. That's how you know a lot of people like this, they still Democrats in heart. They still kind of somewhat with the thought process of the movement of Ku Klux Klan and national white nationalists and stuff like that. And a lot of white nationalists hate the Republicans. They hate conservatism. They hate freedom fighters, constitutionists, because they think they kind of a little bit too welcoming to different people and the different world and different things. Like, and I understand certain things. For me, I'm welcoming to everybody. I think it's this country is improved 100% fold by Japanese people, 100% fold by Jewish people, 100% fold. It's improved so much by Hispanics, and it's improved so much by Europeans and different little mixing of the melting pot it is. But when they all assimilate and they actually believe in the country they live in, it's nothing like it. It's magical. And they blend a lot of stuff, but always giving respect to the Americanism. There ain't nothing like it. It's beautiful. I've seen it. I know it. I've been around it forever and personally in my personal private life and everything. But when you're in some kind of idealistic, emotional, you haven't pushed out enough nuts in your life, you get what I'm saying? What? I know that's a cheap shot. You think it's a cheap shot of me talking about you being a virgin and you probably jacking off a lot and all that stuff like that. It's not a cheap shot. I know the psychosis of men when we don't have sex, when we're not enjoying like orgasms and the natural functions of our body. We have the internet. We have like societal interaction with women and the perfume and smells and stuff like that. It's just it's all arousing and it's all wow psychosis to the DNA and the genetics and the biological function of men. So all that aggression, all that stuff that he had over 27 years, he puts it into his podcast. He puts it into his belief system. He puts it into his ideological point of view and stuff. And sometimes some of that stuff get a little wacky because we can go crazy if we don't nut. If we don't see or interact with something physically, you know, a woman physically to kind of calm ourselves and stuff like that, we can kind of go and start saying all kind of stuff on the internet. You know what I'm saying? We can start having crazy personalities and stuff. So it's a lot of his personality that is not actually functional to the function of how he's supposed to interact with his biological function. You're supposed to be finding a doting wife, but how can you find a doting wife around polluted stuff? Majority of his pickings are very polluted. They're very westernized. They're very modern, and he can't. I'm sure it's really hard for Nick Fuentes to find a woman that could deal with his personality, deal with his messaging, deal with his past, deal with his name. You get what I'm saying? But at the same time, women love to be provided for, so I'm sure he got options. But those options he can't trust. You get what I'm saying? So I'll let him finish up.
However, in our two-party system, who will hold this administration accountable? It won't come from within. It won't come from within the Republican conference. We know that. If you are in a district where you're lucky enough to have a Republican who will openly call this stuff out, knock yourself out. Otherwise, you're going to be with the other side. And what I want is for this administration, which buried and covered up the Epstein files, which is dragged.
In this theory of the Epstein, I want you guys to understand the only reason why Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson, Myron Gaines, Nick Fuentes are so headstrong in the Epstein file is because they think that there's connections to Israel. They already got the documents of that. Any interactions and certain little people connecting the dots to this person, it's like, you got him. You got him. You got the Epstein files on his first year. You got him. You got him. Nobody got those files and gave those files to the people more like Trump did. If you twist his arm or whatever, first day, he released a booklet of it to give you some kind of information. Then, when all the stuff, everybody was saying there's more information on there, he tried to figure out ways to communicate with the Epstein files that didn't like hurt people because they didn't really have anything to do with Epstein, but their name and their interactions was with him, which Trump, he really messed up with that. Don't save nobody. They're going to destroy you. Don't destroy yourself for nobody. That's stupid. You get what I'm saying? You taking a blow to let it all out. So by the time he had to put his hands on it, he like released everything. Don't mess around with this. You messing on my name. You messing on my administration. We're trying to fight people with these files. Give it all to him. You get what I'm saying? He's been foolish not having a real conversation about this stuff. And he's been saying a lot, but like really explain to people why it took so long. Explain that. What's the process? Why not just declassify all kind of stuff? The way that you heal from the Epstein stuff, you start declassifying all kind of shit now. It's not enough just to release the Epstein files. Start releasing all kind of stuff to let people know that they got documents to say that ain't no way this stuff would have been released if a president never released it. Release that stuff. That's how you get your credibility back. That you're not having these mythical conversations with the boogeyman of Israel. Because that's all they want it for. The Epstein file is supposed to have a paper crumb back to Mossad, to the CIA version of the Jewish Israel version of the CIA, the Mossad. That's what it's supposed to be a paper trail back to. But they don't understand. You're taking the word of women that haven't been vetted. Not saying that they haven't been, this hasn't happened to them. They gotta be vetted. Because if you start just taking the stuff that they have and the things that they're communicating in these documents and these FBI filings and stuff like that, that's gotta be truthful. You cannot build a world in history on something that's haven't been vetted. You get what I'm saying? That's the problem. So when they talk about he has been a problem with the Epstein file, he had a specific problem with the Epstein file about them exposing people with no vetting. Saying stuff about no vetting. And then what y'all do? Y'all even had Clinton, one of the people, if Epstein was messing around with young girls and doing real pedophile stuff, ain't no way Clinton didn't have his hands in it. Y'all was able to get him to testify. Y'all asked him a question. And this the worst thing about Republicans and stupid people like Candace Owens and Nick Fuentes is y'all ask questions that you don't have the answers to. When you're interrogating somebody, when you're accusing somebody, when you want to catch somebody and you want to validate your beliefs, you need to validate it with proof. I know you did this. We have evidence that you did this, and we got facts that you did this. So now we're going to bring it up. We're going to show it to you, and let's see how you deny it. They're able to say, "Oh, don't know what you're talking about. That ain't nope. That's a grown woman." They got no evidence to corroborate the mythical sex traffic of Epstein. And the reason why I say it's mythical because nobody's vetting it. Nobody questioned the girls. How do you investigate? How do you put somebody on trial and not vet and interrogate and actually vet the girls' accusations? They were put in jail from prosecutions and deals that he did in 2008. It's ridiculous. Testimony. Don't get judged by your peers. They stupid. Your peers don't know. Don't find me guilty if they don't got no factual evidence that I did something. I don't care how much you think I did it. If they don't got no factual evidence that I did something, don't find me guilty. And if that can't happen with a jury of your peers, pray to God that you don't get put in the eyes of your peers.
Taking us into a ground war in Iran, which is not even living up to any of its other promises. If you're conservative, no wall, no deportations, nothing. I thought we were making America healthy again. Nothing with that. It's about holding this.
He says that. I need you guys to pay attention to what he's saying and vet him on what he's saying. No walls, no deportations. They deported 3 million people. 2 million of those people self-deported. The other ones, they went to go grab gang members and all this stuff and they threw them out. And all the people that's coming to the border, they ain't letting them in. All the people claiming something, they not letting them in. They push them right back out. The influx of new foreigners coming in is very low. Very low. That's better than a wall. And he got money in the big beautiful bill to put up all the walls that they try to sell. He bought them all back and he put them up. This is a lie. That's facts that I'm just telling you. Facts. So the building a wall thing, he's lying. He's doing better than he's building a wall and he's deporting. And you wouldn't got 3 million people thrown out in 1 year. Y'all would not under no Democrat. Not who he telling you to vote for. So that's crazy. How much food under the make America healthy again? How much food that we have where all the companies start changing the dyes that they use for the food? Come on, y'all know this. Prescription medication is cheap as hell now. They got Trump. Go and don't take my word. If you need medication, if you got need for medication, go to TrumpRx.com. I know you're gonna hate typing in Trump. But TrumpRx.com. Type it in, and all your shit, you get it a whole lot cheaper. This is crazy. Food and restaurants and all kind of people been changing the stuff that they've been doing that they know that's pretty bad. They've been changing a lot of that stuff. So don't tell me he knows this. The health stuff is ridiculous. It's aggressive change in that stuff. Even the vaccine, how you articulate the necessary for vaccines and all that stuff, man. They've been doing some wild stuff that Democrats hate in the medical stuff and the Make America Healthy Again policies under the CDC and all that. A lie. But he's saying all this stuff because if you don't know what the information is, if you don't know what the data is, if you don't know what's actually popping off, how he's communicating, it'll sound like he's making sense that, they did mess up on us. So far, he ain't got no point.
Administration accountable. It is about diminishing them any way we can.
And that's all he care about. It's about diminishing him. It's the enemy that he sees right now. Not that they the best thing that ever happened to this country. Trump, his administration, and whatever we get out of this shit, whatever we got out of the first term or whatever we got out of this term is better than any president gave us in the last 30, 40 years. And trust me, without him, it's going to get worse. Without Vance, it's going to get worse. Without Marco Rubio, it's going to get worse. You need these guys. And trust me, we not looking for them to do all the shit they've done. I wasn't looking for them to do all that. If we can have freedom of speech, if we can have a piece of shit person like Nick Fuentes able to communicate on Twitter and not be deplatformed, that's good enough for me. That was so much for Trump to give Elon Musk the reason to buy Twitter alone. If the stopping of people, conservative people or people, anti-government people getting deplatformed from banks and stuff, if that was all Trump brought, it was worth it. He's a fucking idiot and a liar. And he's trying to manipulate you.
The GOP is a part of this hostile.
No, Nick Fuentes is. GOP is too. They full of shit and they pieces of shit. But absolutely, Nick Fuentes, Candace Owens, they're part of the problem.
Occupying force, they are controlled by it. Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, Kristi Noem, Pete Hegseth, Rubio, they are all
Can you hear that? That's anger with no context, no logic. I don't give a shit about these people. I care about my life and my home and what we're doing. And the only reason why I'm doing this podcast because I got to give myself something to watch. I can't keep watching Fox News. I can't keep watching all these media people. I can't keep watching these fake-ass podcasters and social influencers. These people are liars. They can't stick to objectivity. They can't stick to the facts. They won't do it. So I got to give myself something that puts it on the record. I got to know somebody communicated what was going on at this time we're living in. That's crazy. He needs to get laid.
Puppets of Israel. I don't care that they call themselves Republican. Most of the members of the House and the Senate, Republicans, are controlled by Israel. They're called.
This is what you guys understand. This is a thing, an anti-Israel situation. You know what I'm saying? And my problem with that is it would be all right for everybody to go totally off the cliff, destroy their companies, destroy their business, destroy their life, destroy their success, destroy their legacy, and go totally anti-Israel. If the people that's given the message had credibility, had stable standing and articulating themselves and how their philosophy and how they communicate. But when you compromise yourself and your communication with random speculations and articulations and like the Epstein thing, my goodness, I gotta walk you guys through that. That alone, people, you mess up your credibility with that. But at the same time, just me having a conversation with the things you're saying on this episode, you messed up.
Calling me out on Twitter. They're voting against the War Powers Resolution to give Trump unlimited power to prosecute a war that we never voted for, that Congress never voted for in Iran. That
all presidents have that. At any time, if they see something going popping off, If they see something that needs to be handled right now, if they see something that's just not tactically right, and we can't let it go. We can't be arguing with each other. We can't be fighting it off. They gave the power to that. You know what? Let's go to Article 2. Let's go to Article 2 because he's trying to articulate and clown you guys for what you don't know. Let's go to Article 2, okay? Let's go to Article 2 of the Constitution. I'm going to pull it all the way up. I'm going to pull it all the way up. You guys see that? Okay. Article 2. And forgive my reading if it's terrible, okay? But we're going to go and prove my point, okay? Okay, let's go to Article 2, Section 2. Article 2, Section 2 of the Article 2 lays out the power of the presidency, establishing that presidents serve as the commander-in-chief of the military. The commander-in-chief of the military, meaning he controls the military, okay? This section gives president the power to grant pardons, okay? Section 2 also requires the principal officer of any executive branch to tender advice. So, yeah, controlling that, okay? Though not require as... Okay, I want to go to where the powers of the military. Give me a second. We already said about the powers of the military, but I want to go to where we... You know what? Let's take some time here, okay? Let's just take some time here. Let's get this right. Let's put it on the record. Articulate ourselves, okay? Here we go.
Article 2 of the United States Constitution establishes the executive branch of the federal government, which carries out and enforces federal laws. Article 2 vests the power of the executive branch in the office of the President of the United States, lays out the procedures for electing and removing, impeaching the President, and establishes the President's powers and responsibilities. Section 1 of Article 2 establishes the positions of the President and the Vice President, and sets the term of both offices at 4 years. Section 1's vesting clause declares that the executive power of the federal government is vested in the President and, along with the vesting clauses of Article 1 and Article 3, establishes the separation of powers among the 3 branches of government. Section 1 also establishes the Electoral College, the body charged with electing the President and the Vice President. Section 1 provides that each state chooses members of the Electoral College in a manner directed by each state's respective legislature, with the states granted electors equal to their combined representation in both houses of Congress. Section 1 lays out the procedures of the Electoral College and requires the House of Representatives to hold a contingent election to select the president if no individual wins a majority of the electoral vote. Section 1 also sets forth the eligibility requirements for the office of the president, provides procedures in case of a presidential vacancy, and requires the president to take an oath of office. Section 2 of Article 2 lays out the powers of the presidency, establishing that the president serves as the commander-in-chief of the military. This section gives the president the power to grant pardons. Section 2 also requires the principal officer of any executive department to tender advice. Though not required by Article 2, President George Washington organized the principal officers of the executive departments into the cabinet, a practice that subsequent presidents have followed. The Treaty Clause grants the President the power to enter into treaties with the approval of 2/3 of the Senate. The Appointments Clause grants the President the power to appoint judges and public officials subject to the advice and consent of the Senate, which in practice has meant that presidential appointees must be confirmed by a majority vote in the Senate. The Appointments Clause also establishes that Congress can...
You know what? I'm going to stop that because that's giving almost giving like a summary of it. I want to actually go to what it actually says in the Constitution. Give me a second, y'all. Give me a second, y'all. Okay. The Constitution. Guess that was the reading of it, huh? Yeah, that was the okay, burning the pieces. Hmm. Okay. Let's go. I'm sorry, y'all. I want to debunk this guy's stuff. So, not really debunk it, but just maybe this was like a law, a clause, a declaration of war clause. So let me check and see what it is. Okay. Okay, what is this? War power resolution. That's what it's called. Okay. I apologize, y'all. So this was a statute that they passed. It was a law that they passed. Okay. So, the War Powers Resolution, also known as the War Power Resolution of 1973 or the War Power Act, is a federal law intended to check the U.S. president's power to commit the United States to an armed conflict without the consent of Congress. Okay, so I wonder what this is right here. I think it's in the Constitution, something in there. The resolution was adopted in the form of the United States Congressional Joint Resolution. It provides the president can send the U.S. Armed Forces into, yeah, let's do this. This is what I'm looking for. This is what I'm looking for right here. So let's put it on record, y'all, because he's talking crazy. Let's put it on record.
War Powers Resolution, long title Joint Resolution Concerning the War Powers of Congress and the President, enacted by the 93rd United States Congress effective November 7, 1973. Citations: Public Law 93-148, Statutes at Large 87, Stat 555. Legislative history introduced in the House as H.J. Res. 542 by Clement J. Zablocki, DWI, on May 3, 1973. Committee consideration by House Foreign Affairs. Passed the House on July 18, 1973, 244-170. Passed the Senate on July 20, 1973, 75-20. Reported by the Joint Conference Committee on October 4, 1973. Agreed to by the Senate on October 10, 1973, 75-20. And by the House on October 12, 1973. 238-122, vetoed by President Richard Nixon on October 24, 1973, overridden by the House on November 7, 1973, 284-135, overridden by the Senate and became law on November 7, 1973, 75-18. U.S. Congressional Opposition to American Involvement in Wars and Interventions, 1812. North America House Federalists Address 1847. Mexican-American War Spot Resolutions 1917. World War I Filibuster of the Armed Ship. The War Powers Resolution, also known as the War Powers Resolution of 1973 or the War Powers Act.
Sorry about that. It was actually telling you guys all the statute passings, the votes and all that stuff like that. I'm gonna let that go. Okay, I'm gonna let that go. We're gonna actually read the actual what it was actually saying about. So, but I want to go back because sometimes when you're hearing this stuff, we can get it backtracked. So let's let him make his claim about the Wars Act.
A war that we never voted for. Most of the members of the House and the Senate, Republicans, are controlled by Israel. They're calling me out on Twitter. They're voting against the War Powers Resolution to give Trump unlimited power to prosecute a war that we never voted for, that Congress never voted for in Iran.
He's taking talking points from liberals. See what I'm saying? This is the problem. You lose your credibility when you want to fight something or you want to be in opposition to something and you use the enemy's tactics to do it, and they wrong as hell too. So let's go back to it. He say Trump don't have no right to prosecute the war, or just knock the hell out of somebody that he decides he wants to knock the hell out of. I need you guys to understand the DOJ, the law of America, is regulated by the actual president. The president has the right to, every single time you bring a federal prosecution, state prosecution is done by the governor and the actual mayors and stuff of that city and that state. But federal crimes, anything that's federal law, is regulated by the president. So anybody that breaks a federal law, the actual president can just, for every single person, give them a clemency to it. Annul it. Make it where it's not, no matter what they did, no matter what crime they did, they can't get prosecuted for it. So if he has the power, if they was to do 300 federal crime convictions and indictments, convictions, and he would be able to take all of those indictments and all those convictions and write it off and free those people and make it where like they didn't even commit the crime. If he has the power to do that, then that tells you that he controls law. He controls the DOJ. He controls the federal prosecutors. He controls federal law. He controls the statute. The Constitution gives him the right, no matter if an actual Congress makes statutes and laws for federal crimes and stuff, the actual president has the right to allow the person to go through the process. And once they are tried and convicted, no matter if it's convicted of the people of the peers, they can actually, the president has the right to give clemency to all the convictions. If he has that right, then he controls the DOJ. He controls the prosecutors because they are they are employees of the executive branch, and the head of the executive branch is the president. So they're not a fourth branch of government. The DOJ is not an entity to themselves. They're not a branch to themselves. They're not a body to themselves. They have to live up, and they pretty much are controlled by the president, and they must abide by the president. Okay? So, let's go to this. My point of saying that is, if the president has the control, like of how they say in Article 2, if the president has the command of the military branch, and then after that, just to get it clear, because I guess, I don't know what, like 73, I think that's like what, Vietnam or something, that they wanted to give the power of the president to just let's read this. Let's go to it.
The War Powers Resolution, also known as the War Powers Resolution of 1973 or the War Powers Act, 50 U.S.C. Chapter 33, is a federal law intended to check the U.S. President's power to commit the United States to an armed conflict without the consent of the U.S. Congress. The resolution was adopted in the form of a United States Congressional Joint Resolution. It provides that the President can send the U.S. Armed Forces into action abroad only by Congress's statutory authorization, or in case of a national emergency created by attack upon the United States, its territories or possessions, or its armed forces. The bill was introduced by Clement Zablocki, a Democratic congressman representing Wisconsin's 4th District. The bill had bipartisan support and was co-sponsored by a number of U.S. military veterans. 1. The War Powers Resolution requires the President to notify Congress within 48 hours of committing armed forces to military action and forbids armed forces from remaining for more than 60 days, with a further 30-day withdrawal period, without congressional authorization for use of military force, AUMF, or a declaration of war by the United States. The resolution was passed by 2/3 each of the House and Senate, overriding the veto of President Richard Nixon. It has been alleged that the War Powers Resolution has been violated in the past. However, Congress has disapproved all such incidents, and no allegations have resulted in successful legal actions taken against a president. 2.
Okay. Now, he has the right to actually act. Now, check this out. This, because I need you guys to look at this. This is the most important thing. Okay. The War Powers Resolution requires the president to notify Congress within 48 hours. Marco Rubio went to the Congress. They actually have a board of 8 members of Congress, and notified them about the attack Iran. He did that. They did, so they briefed them on it, and then they didn't know it was gonna be literally that soon. But he would say, "Hey, we're about to at any time the president he gonna go ahead and do an attack on Iran, because we feel that Israel's about to do this, so we need to counteract to make sure our people are safe and that we knock out whatever need to be knocked out, so we won't be vulnerable and our people won't be vulnerable and our interests over there won't be vulnerable." So they did that. They notified him, and if he decides to go and do something, he can't do it more than 60 days. So he could blow them the hell out of smithereens and do all kind of stuff, and he can't he can't commit armed forces to the thing more than 60 days, with a further 30 days withdrawal period, meaning that he gotta be at least showing some withdrawing within 30 days of that 60 days. Okay, so they gave him timelines. That's what this War Power Resolution of 1973 War Power Act did. They didn't stop him from being able to act on something that he wanted to act on. They gave him a timeline, and then they let him. He has to communicate what he's about to do or what he's potentially gonna do to Congress within 48 hours of him doing it. So if he told him to be at the beginning of the week and he waited 7 days to do it, he let them know within 48 hours. Okay. So let's say I think Marco Rubio went to them probably a couple of days beforehand and said, boom, we're going to do it. You get what I'm saying? So at any moment, this might be done. So they talked to the 8. The reason why they didn't tell every single Congress members, because those Congress members voted for the 8 people to represent them when top secret situations need to be communicated, and the president needs to act on confidential and extreme situations. So that's all. You could go ahead and read all that stuff, the statutes. They do a lot of statutes to it. So technically, he had the right to do it now. Now that you know what his limitations is. Now, if he stays over there more than 60 days, that's a problem. Okay? So now let's go back to the wishy-washy Nick Fuentes.
That administration, these personnel, this party must be held accountable. It must be diminished. They must be investigated. They must be impeached. They must be.
See, everybody want to be Charlie Kirk. One of the worst things that could have happened to the Republican Party, one of the worst things that could have happened to anybody that loves this country and that was fighting for individual rights, was for Charlie Kirk to get killed like that. He had a great communication with Trump. He had sway over Trump. Also, he had power to get majority anybody that wanted to get elected. He had great ground game, everything. But once he got killed, his people, his wife, and his organization, you can see by that Virginia and New Jersey election, they had no sway. They were weakened. They were destroyed. And you think they're gonna pick that back up by if the organization that Charlie Kirk built was still in full operation, Republicans have nothing to worry about in 2026 midterms. They were gonna do a miracle. That's what Charlie Kirk was fighting for. Excuse me, gotta get some water. That's what he was fighting for, to make sure that by the time that came, he show proof of concept to be able to win the election of 2024 and be ready for that 2026. But when they killed him, they did the right thing. Now, I'm doing conspiracy theory, but I 100%, my opinion, my personal view, it's all alleged. I 100% feel that Democrats are behind that. And also, I think the cross-dressing girlfriend, a boyfriend of the guy that got accused of killing him, actually the one who took the shot. I think they both was there. I think they both was actually there. But the only way you could do that is they're gonna have to track those cameras. But I think they're not even investigating that case right. You get what I'm saying? They gave that guy immunity and everything. It was stupid. So that's the setup, you know?
Slowed down by a split government.
You'll never be Charlie Kirk, in other words.
By a divided government. I want it to happen. And then in 2028, hopefully, we can have a hostile takeover of the GOP. We can have somebody, we need to open.
You don't even know who to pick. Who you gonna pick, dude? See, all this highfalutin, he been doing this. Nick Fuentes has been talking shit for so long. He should have better idea of a plan. He just a radical, big mouth, angry person that needs to bust a nut. Really. It's ridiculous.
Open up a space. If you build it, the candidate will arrive. Okay? If you build it, they...
Boy, you not no leader, dude. You not no leader. You discredit yourself from being a leader. You're a leader of your wacky ass people that watch you and stuff. But you know what I mean? And the people that watch you, they just need something more than Fox News and all that stuff. And I apologize for saying anything bad about his viewers because it's not your fault. We all watch Nick Fuentes. We all kind of look for Nick Fuentes to communicate because to have somebody speak with freedom. That's like I said, to me, one of the greatest things was to give him, if that's all Trump did was be motivating for Elon Musk to purchase Twitter to make sure that we have a space for freedom of speech, to give even Nick Fuentes his voice back. That was good enough. You get what I'm saying? That was good enough because he's doing more numbers on here than he's doing with Rumble. You get what I'm saying? So truthfully, it gave him power, but he doesn't even take that as a win. He's greedy. He's asking for Trump's life. You get what I'm saying? And it's just ridiculous. And it's just like, he's not even, what he's articulating has no validation to it. And that alone discredits him.
Will come. If we make it clear as a bloc that we have an appetite for an Israel critical candidate, somebody will.
It's crazy. Okay, we heard enough of this, okay? I don't have to listen to it all. I wanted him to get to the point of talking about anti-Trump, pretty much, because that's all he's saying. All these people are against Trump. They're not against the GOP. They're against Trump. You get what I'm saying? You know, they against Trump, man. It's nothing worse than some of the people that's Republicans and they senators and congressmen. You know, Trump has not let us down as bad as they have, but that's not enough. They don't like he's a leader. They don't like he's masculine. They don't like that he's like the old American man. You know what I mean? They don't like it that these people like this, dwellers and whatever Nick Fuentes is, because he's not really the average. Most people out there busting their ass, working a job. They in the shit. You know, they in the scene, they interacting with people and stuff, you know. So Nick Fuentes and his viewers, I'm telling you guys, I understand why you watch him and you speak so highly of you and you support him and stuff. I support Nick Fuentes' voice. I'm criticizing him because what him and Candace Owens and people like that are doing, it's literally like a self-deletion vest. It's a self-deletion. They're self-deletion bombs. They really don't care about end results or outcome. All they care about is how they feel, and what they perceive is what's going on. You know what I mean? And we can't live like that in a real world. We got to actually make decisions and make moves on the chessboard that get us gangs when we could get gangs. And people like this, they don't understand that. Look, my name is Daris D. McKinney. Hit the like, share, subscribe. This Individual Perspective Podcast. And I wanted to go do more, but I had be on here for 3 hours, 4 hours. So I don't want to be on here too long. At least I want to cut this one off and do another one. But for right now, this is my message. I understand no one likes the Iran war. We feel like there's something. Yes, we do got our eyes, and we are listening to the data, and we looking at some of the information and some of the facts that's been given to us about Israel. Okay, we all kind of observing that. But we can't be in a highfalutin thought process unless we got factual data that can prosecute them. Okay? And in addition, we got to have people that got a voice to people that can actually get, no matter how terrible you think Trump is, he got elected. Soft, weak, passive people voted for Trump. Okay? Strong, dominating people voted for Trump. Fighters voted for Trump. Freedom fighters voted for Trump. These people don't got no coalition like that. They don't got no coalition like that. They can't change nothing. And he's fighting more than any. Reagan was a dog shit, piece of shit president in comparison to Trump. Reagan was garbage. What he did with arming rebels against Russia in Afghanistan gave birth to 9/11. What Reagan did with his terrible immigration policies with Democrats in 1986 gave birth to open borders and fluctuating and instability with our border and immigration policies. You know what I'm saying? He had a lot of great communication, great oratorial communication. That's what I'm telling you guys. These influencers, these podcasters, and politicians, they got great communication. They got great skill with communicating. The pundits, the news anchors, they got great ways of talking, but they're full of shit and a self-destruction to us. That's what I'm here for. That's what Individual Perspective is here for. And I'll see you guys on the next one. And it's ridiculous. It is. It really is.